Nick.
And we are Envy Board Gaming. And today we're looking at Architects of the West Kingdom and its expansion, Age of Artisans. Architects plays 1 to 5 players, whereas Age of Artisans gives you 1 extra, so it plays 1 to 6. This is designed by Shem Phillips and S.J. McDonald, and it is published by Renegade Game Studios. Nick is going to give an overview of how you play both the base game and the expansion, and then we're going to give our review.
All right, everyone, I'm set up here for a 3-player game of Architects of the West Kingdom. To start the game, you're going to pick a character. You can do this at random. You're also going to decide if you want the advanced side or not. So right here, you have the advanced side because you have a special ability right here. All your gold is equal to marble if you select this character. The flip side has the actual color in the background, and there are no special abilities. So you decide what you would like to do. The only thing you're really using this for is to put workers you capture right here, maybe to hold your resources and things like that. And the game scoring is at the very bottom right here. The game is going to end when this is filled up at the guild hall. Depending on the player count, you're going to put workers here, and where it says 3+, 4+, or 5+, this is where you end the row based on your player count. So when you reach the end, the last row, that will trigger the last round of the game when somebody places the last worker based on the player count. You also have a couple symbols here that we'll talk about later. We have virtue tracked at the left. That will determine not only victory points, but things you can do. You can not go to the chapel if you're too low of virtue. You cannot contribute to building the chapel. And you cannot do the black market if you're too high in virtue. So, and this game is standard worker placement. You're going to have a bunch of workers over here. Everyone's going to start with a bunch of workers, 20 workers. And you can pick where you would like to go and do an action. And I can go through every action here. I'll go through them briefly, but we're just going to go around and round and round until that condition is met. So what do you do here? In the base game, you can build out your buildings, these green cards, which I'll go over in a moment, or you can contribute to the chapel, which is right over here. You spend a resource and get rid of one of those greens to go up on this, which will give you victory points, and one of these cards, which gives you a bonus. In this case, if you did this one, it is 2 virtue, and these go away. They don't come back. So you could run out, and then from then on, it is only 1 virtue every time you contribute to the chapel. But keep in mind, it does give you more victory points the higher you go on that. And you can get blocked out if you're playing more than 2 players. You can see it starts thinning out over here. So you can't hold, if the situation was like this, and red tried to do help build the chapel, they cannot because there's not an extra spot for them in the 3rd layer. Just as an example here. So these are just 2 times the number of players plus 1. So in a 3-player game, we're going to have 7 right here. Here's just basic things where you get resources. You can get the mines, you can get some clay or brick. You can get, for every 2 people here, you can get 1 gold. Here's where you get stone. Here's where you get wood. Here's where you get coins. Here is a little complicated because this is where you can collect different workers out here. This is where you can make arrests. And arrests are good for money and also lessening people's actions, because in this game, the more workers you have in a certain spot, the more powerful that spot is to you. So if you were to go to the mine and keep going, let's say the situation was this and it's red's turn. If they go here, now they have 3 workers here, which makes everything more powerful. So here, if I just put this down, I have 3 workers here. I get 3 brick plus 1 per every worker here. So a brick plus, 1 brick plus everything for a worker here, so that's 4. 1 plus 3. So 4 brick, as opposed to if I just put 1, I get 2 brick. So you can see how things get more and more powerful the more and more people that are there. And that goes for all these, where it says per person there. So the town center is where you can collect some of these people that maybe their actions are getting too powerful. You can collect them and put them on your board, the spot that I mentioned on here. So those, you can collect whoever you would like, whatever player you want to harass, go ahead and take their stuff. Jail, this is how you get people out. So the whole point, half the point is when you get these people is to put them into the jail and get coins for them. So for every for every person that you put in jail, you get a coin. You get paid out. And you can go here and do all kinds of actions, collect things, pay off debts, different things over there. You can get help out here. So to start the game, you're actually going to get one of these. You're going to draft one, just so you know. And you can also acquire more at this workshop. You can also acquire buildings, which I haven't talked about, at this workshop. And it says what it is to take that. So you'll get, if you go here, you can get one of these building cards and you can get an extra one per every 2 workers you have there. But in turn, you're just assigning a worker and that is your action. Or you could spend 4. This means to the tax stand when it's a light colored coin, and if it's a dark coin, you're paying it to the supply. So you're paying 4 coins to the tax, 2 to the supply to get one of these people. And that is all going to be based on if you have 1 worker there, then you can only select from this row. If you want to select beyond that, you have to pay coins to go as far as you would like. Black market, this is going to lose virtue, so it shows that purple symbol here. You're going to lose virtue and you're going to get coins. Sorry, you're going to pay coins, lose virtue, and then you get these actions. As soon as this fills up, you're going to trigger what the same symbol is here, which is a black market refresh. This card will flip, and you're going to check. All these people are going to go to the jail, and then we're going to check who has the most, and who has the most is going to get a debt. If you have 3 or more, you're going to lose virtue. So we're doing that check. This refreshes. All these people are gone. This is now clear. This flipped over, ready to go. Tax stand, just collect this, you lose 2 virtue. King storehouse, you can do some trades that show here at that ratio. Now let's go over these green. So if you don't want to contribute to the chapel, you could go ahead and pay for these. So this shows a prerequisite right here of what kind of characters you need, and these symbols are shown. For this one, for example, has all 3. So if you were to get this laborer, he doesn't have any abilities, but he gives you all 3 of those symbols. So he is useful because you need those prerequisites in order to build these. You need that kind of talent in your pool. So it shows a prerequisite here, and then the goods that it will cost. Then it'll give you an immediate ability, maybe right here, and it'll give you something down here. So this is, in this case, that is an expansion. So I don't want to use that as an example. Let me show you this one. Victory points right here, 6 for this card. And if you have the most clay or brick, you get 2 victory points. Those seals are victory points. They do different things. They cost different values. They get different victory points. So at the beginning, you're going to end up drafting these. You're going to have 4, and you're going to draft down to 3 between the other players. Like I said, you're going to keep going. Whoever has the most victory points wins. That's where we stop. You play 1 final round when that's done, and that's how you play. All right, let's go over this expansion. What is added in the Age of Artisans, Architects of the West Kingdom expansion? So first of all, we're going to cover up this guild hall. It has changed a little bit. Now we have a couple different options over here. So these mean you're going to overlap as you put people on. Instead of having to assign it to a new spot, we can now stack them in order to do different actions here. So we're going to put that overlay. We're also going to put in the middle spot for the black market, we're going to put a new overlay because that gives you another action here. We're going to have these cards added to the game, and 4 of them are going to come out. So let's just take a look at 4 of them because this correlates with the guild hall. So now we have these top areas here where you can put this over a building. You just tuck it under a building, and now you have to do, you can do these and you get victory points. So in this case, you would discard all of the apprentices out here and get to take one of them. In this case, you would get 3 stone and so on. And then alternatively, so in order to do that, let's take a look at that. If you're trying to do the yellow, the top part of the card, you have to pay 2 to taxes, and you're going to have to stack a worker, obviously. So one of your workers is going to be lost for the rest of the game. You're going to pay the 5 coins, 2 to taxes, 3 to supply in order to play that. Or you could spend the worker and just take a red part. The bottom part of the card could give you those symbols. If you do this one, could give you an extra clay. So again, this is going on, these are going on the bottom of a worker. So that actually adds to an action. So if you put them on the bottom of a worker, this is an adornment for a building. This is to add to a worker's ability. So you can put this at the bottom. So if we were to say, go to the forest. So, you know, this apprentice helps you go to the forest. You're going to get extra wood every time you go to the forest if you have this individual, the woodcutter. Now, if you add this right here, now she has an ability of going and getting that extra wood and a clay that she would not otherwise have. That's what the red cards do. They add a little bit to your worker's abilities. This one would give her all the symbols like I went over. So if you were to do that, now she has every symbol. You're good to go. You can build out any building you would like as long as you have the resources to pay for them. So it adds that. It adds an artisan meeple, because it's just a larger meeple than the other ones. You get an artisan, and they count as 2 workers. That is what they do instead of 1, like everybody else. And that is what is added in the Age of Artisans. Hey, welcome back for the review of Architects of the West Kingdom. Been a long time coming. I had this game for quite a while. So now that we have all 3, might as well just pump out 3 reviews. We're going to start with Architects. We're going to go to Paladins next time. Then we're going to come back with Viscounts. So we have all 3, and we'll be able to review them. We don't have the expansions for Paladins or anything like that. That is coming soon. So I will probably do a separate review at some point for the expansion for that game. This one, the first one in the series. So what I like the maybe a little bit twist on worker placement. Your actions go more powerful the more people you have there. You can arrest workers. That's something new to me. So that's pretty cool that you can exchange workers. You can mess with people a little bit. There's some interaction here that you might not see in other games. There are, and not just interaction in that, oh, I went to this spot, now you can't go. We can always go to those spots. So it's a little different in that regard too. I like the card play in this game, and it's really hard for me not to reference other games in this series because I don't want to reference it. I haven't reviewed them, so I don't want to do that yet. Maybe I'll reference it when I get to Viscounts. I'll reference it. So I like the card play in this game. I like the choice when you go to the guild hall of doing the cathedral or playing down one of these cards I've had with these buildings. I like that. There's a dock. I'll dock it for because it doesn't scale. For me, it doesn't scale as well, just because the 2-player game, even with the 3rd dummy player, I don't like it as much. I rather play with 3 or 4 players.
Yeah.
I don't really care for managing this person, flipping a card and seeing, and a lot of games do that, where you flip a card and you see, what you get. This one, I didn't really care for it. I don't really care. I don't know. It's just not the same. I'd rather have other players. So I felt like that wasn't handled, for me, it wasn't handled as well as I've seen other dummy players in other games. So I did dock it for that because we play a lot of 2-player games.
Yeah.
So for us, it isn't one that's going to hit the table as much, but I still love the game. I'm still scoring it very good. 8.1 for me. Highly recommend, especially fairly entry level. There is a lot of symbology, I feel like, especially if this is your first, it's not, people call this a gateway. It's a little bit above a gateway because you do have a lot of symbols. A lot of symbology. Oh, what is this? That's a market refresh, a black market refresh. What is this? That's capturing from the board. What is this? That's capturing from another player, player's board. There's some symbol issues here, I feel, and I have to admit that. So I don't call it a gateway, but it is a good worker placement game, 8.1.
Yeah, we even had trouble when we hadn't played this for a few months going back, and then we had to reference the symbology, and we knew, generally, because it does follow. I'm not going to talk too much about the other games, but it's not really anything. There are a couple new things with the capturing and stuff, but we felt like we should have known or been more well versed in the symbology, but it was still something we had to look up a couple of things. So something to keep in mind, and we play a lot of games, so maybe that's why. So my score, or I guess I can't give my score just yet. I'm going to say how I feel about the game. So for this game, I enjoy the places you can go. There seems to be a lot of variety in the spots that you can go to and the things that you can accomplish. So there's different ways that you can get things that you need. And I like that you can add on, like Nick said, to the workers you have and then start building up. But that makes you a target for getting arrested. And when we played it at 4 players, it was a big threat that somebody was going to arrest me because they see me thriving in the mines and oh boy, so that is something I actually don't enjoy, getting arrested and having my workers held hostage. And I don't really necessarily want to go and have to pay money to get my people out. But I like that some money goes to taxes, some money ends up going to the supply. So you can go into the taxes, raid that, lose some of your what's the purple? Virtue, yes, sorry. Your virtue for that. And that's another track you're looking at too. If you like games where you're building a track or you're gaining points. And I like that there's actions that are restricted or allowed, like based on where you go. So you can't go to the black market when you're too virtuous. You can't be not virtuous at all, and you're not allowed to be banned from the cathedral. So I think that's kind of neat. I like the way that that's thought out. I think that's interesting. And altogether, I think the game is pretty good. I gave it a 7.9 for the base game. I enjoy it. I have fun when we play it. And I do, though, dock it just for the meanness of capturing people, having people in your possession. But I guess on the flip side, it's not like I never do it. I'll do it to get some money. So I don't, not going to knock it for that. Yeah.
Yep.
What do you think about the expansion, the Age of Artisans?
Okay, so what it adds, I would say I generally like. I like both options there. I like having a different option at the guild hall. The overlay, it's simple to implement. I like that. That's nice. I don't have to explain too many new rules to people. We just say now you can go to this guild hall and you can go ahead and do an adornment or just add an ability for one of your workers. That's cool. The adornments are really good. They cost $5. Whereas the bottom parts for your workers' abilities, you just spend a worker, you just do it. And if you want to do that route, you can. It adds more options to your game. That's a good thing. The actual artisan itself, don't care. It's just 2 workers, don't care. Could have been without it. So didn't really care about that. That's just something neither here nor there. As an extra player, don't care. So I care about one of the 3 things it added. The 2-player, no, I care about, I guess, one of the 4 things, because the two players it adds in this game, don't care. So what's the score going to be? Well, it's a 7-8. So it's actually fairly positive, just because it added more options to the game. Why wouldn't I play with it? I don't know. I would just play with it. But it's not going to get an amazing score, because 75% of the expansion, whatever. Yeah. Just whatever. I definitely want to include the one part, though. So that does benefit it. It's something I do want to come back to when I do play it. I want to have those choices, just more choices. Now I have 2 more things I can do. Cool.
Yeah, we always like more choices. The Age of Artisans expansion is forgotten sometimes. Like for me, I will forget that, oh yeah, there's those cards up there. I could go do that, because there's so many things I could do on the map. I feel like I'm never left with some bogus action between getting the supplies I need to build a building, getting the money I need to flip a debt, there's never really a time when I felt like, oh, I've got nothing I can do here. So, but it is interesting what drives me to use the cards at the top of the board where we lay them out is the bonuses that they give you. Because they can be really useful. If you really need 4 stone, boom, instantly. You could go there and simplify things, then working towards putting out the workers at the spot to get the stone that you need. Also, I actually like the juicy big meeple. I like that it gives you 2 people right away, because it is tedious sometimes when people are arresting people to build up your spot on an area, and to have that too can be very useful to get a quick gold at the brick area in the mines there. And I just like that the use of all the components of the game. So the expansion, I scored it an 8.1 on its own. I like everything that it adds to the game. I like the big meeple. I like the extra player. I like the more choice. We like to give them out randomly so that we have different abilities. And we always play with the advanced side, because we like the...
yeah, they're okay.
Yeah.
The special player abilities, they're okay.
Yeah, asymmetrical. People have different things going on, so that's cool. And I just like the game. I like the expansion. I would recommend picking it up and just playing with it if you enjoy more options. So that's my review of the...
It's a pretty positive review, I would say.
Yeah.
Not the most glowing review, I guess, but it is a positive review, so it's definitely a try for us.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, please. And subscribe to the channel if you have not already for awesome content coming your way. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.